Every woman has a secret metric by which she judges a man. Not by his looks, not by his money, not even by how dominant he is outside the bedroom, but by what he chooses to do inside it, because it's in the most intimate, vulnerable moments that a woman discovers the truth about who a man really is. And here's the shocker: most men fail that test without ever realizing it. But the ones who pass, they're remembered, admired, respected, even craved. This video is for the few men ready to unlock that truth and live it. Let's get into it. There's a kind of man who touches a woman not to prove something, not to perform, and not to earn approval, but because he genuinely enjoys giving without needing to be the center of attention. And that man is rare, because too many men make her pleasure about their own validation. They turn intimacy into a scoreboard. If she moans, they feel powerful. If she doesn't, they feel insecure. That's not intimacy. It's performance anxiety disguised as desire. The men women deeply respect understand one thing: true giving is silent. It's not about technique. It's about presence. When a man focuses on what she's feeling instead of how he's being perceived, he transcends the ego trap. He enters a space of awareness, of intuition, of connection, and she feels it. Not just physically, but psychologically. Because suddenly, she's not just an object of attention, she's the center of it. Psychological studies confirm this. When a woman feels that her partner is attuned to her, not just touching her body, but responding to her energy and rhythm, her emotional brain relaxes. And when she feels emotionally safe, the physical side of intimacy becomes 10x more powerful. Her respect for that man doesn't just grow, it anchors. Because it tells her this is a man who sees her, not just uses her. What makes it even more powerful is that he's not doing it to get something in return. He's not trading affection for intimacy. He's giving because it's who he is. That level of inner security, where his pleasure comes from giving, not taking, is magnetic. It's addictive. It's unforgettable. And that's why the man who learns how to give pleasure from a place of calm confidence, not performance, is the man she won't forget. Not because he begged for respect, but because he earned it by how he showed up in the moment that mattered most. Most men hear what a woman says, but very few know how to truly listen to her without words. Her body tells a deeper story than her mouth ever will. The tension in her shoulder, the hesitation in her breathing, the shift in her hips, these are signals that reveal her comfort, her desire, her fears, and her readiness. And a man who knows how to read them becomes more than just a lover. He becomes a safe place. Science confirms this. The limbic system, the emotional part of the brain, responds to nonverbal cues faster than any spoken language. So when a man pays attention to her physical responses, not just her words, he's actually connecting with her nervous system on a primal level. He's telling her without saying anything, I'm here, I'm attuned, I see you. That level of awareness is rare, because most men are so focused on performance or expectation that they miss the signs she's actually giving. They're busy thinking about what they want instead of feeling what she needs. But the man who slows down and listens with his hands, his breath, and his intuition, he becomes unforgettable. He knows when to pause, not because she said stop, but because her body asked for it. He knows when to go deeper, not because she begged for more, but because she opened without fear. And that creates something women respect on a core level: trust. When a woman feels that her boundaries don't need to be spoken for them to be honored, she relaxes. And in that relaxation, her desire multiplies, her connection deepens. Because respect isn't just built by words, it's built by how you make her feel when she's most vulnerable. So when a man listens to her body more than her words, he isn't just being attentive, he's being awake. He's present in a way most men never are. And in that presence, he creates the one thing most women secretly crave: to be touched without being misunderstood, to be known without having to explain. And that kind of listening, that's respect. That's power. That's what separates the forgettable from the unforgettable. In a culture addicted to instant gratification, fast swipes, fast texts, fast hookups, there is nothing more radical, more disruptive, or more powerful than a man who chooses to slow down. Not because he's uncertain, but because he's in control, because he understands that depth will always outperform speed. This is especially true in intimacy. Every second you take to breathe, to feel, to notice, to hold space without rushing is a second where trust is born. Science backs this. Studies in neuropsychology show that when a man slows his rhythm and presence, the parasympathetic nervous system activates in both partners. That means safety increases, relaxation grows, sensation intensifies. That's not just romance, that's biology. And yet most men rush. They rush because they fear rejection. They rush because they believe speed equals strength. They rush because the world told them, don't waste time, just get it done. But a man who slows down communicates something profoundly different. He says, I'm not chasing, I'm creating. And she feels it. Slowing down doesn't mean hesitating. It means choosing every move with intention, looking into her eyes long enough to let her feel seen, touching her in a way that makes her melt, not because you're trying to impress her, but because you're connected to her rhythm, not society's tempo. When a man takes his time, he shifts from being a performer to being a presence. And in that presence, he creates something women rarely experience: safety in stillness. That's what opens her up, not just physically, but emotionally. That's what allows her to surrender, not out of pressure, but because she trusts where the moment is going. Men who understand this are different. They're the ones women talk about in whispers, the ones who are remembered long after the moment ends. Because in a world that's always rushing to get somewhere, the man who stays present becomes the destination. Every woman, no matter how strong or independent, craves emotional safety. She might not say it directly, but it's written in how she tests you, challenges you, and sometimes even pushes you away. She's not looking for perfection. She's looking for peace. And the man who provides that peace without asking for a medal, that man earns a different kind of respect. You see, most men give emotionally, but only when they think they'll get something in return. They want to be seen as good guys. They want praise, validation, recognition. But here's the truth. Real emotional leadership doesn't beg for likes. It's silent, solid, grounded. Science explains this too. A 2019 study on relationship stability found that the most secure partners were not the most expressive. They were the most consistent. They didn't overreact. They didn't collapse under pressure. They were emotionally available, but not emotionally needy. When a man creates emotional safety, he becomes her emotional anchor, the one person she can fall apart with and still feel whole. He doesn't mock her vulnerability, he honors it. He doesn't fix her pain, he holds it. And in doing so, he proves something deeper than charm or looks or words. He's safe. And here's the part most men miss. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't advertise it because he doesn't need the applause. His security is the applause. It's in how she breathes easier around him, how she relaxes into his presence, how she opens up without fear of being judged. That kind of man doesn't need to chase because she chooses him, not out of fear, not out of loneliness, but because in a world full of emotional chaos, he's the calm. And that calm, that's respect, that's desire, that's rare. Leadership and intimacy isn't about dominance. It's about direction. It's about being the kind of man who knows what he wants, moves with certainty, and yet leaves room for her to feel held, heard, and honored. That balance between strength and softness, that's where her respect is born. Women don't want to be controlled. They want to be led by someone they trust. Someone who isn't aggressive but assertive. Someone who doesn't need to overpower her voice but knows how to amplify it. And that takes a different kind of confidence. Science supports this duality. According to studies in sexual psychology, the most fulfilling intimate experiences occur when both partners experience agency and surrender simultaneously. The man leads with direction, not force, and she responds with openness, not obligation. This is the man who makes decisions but always checks in, who initiates but always respects feedback, who holds her firmly but never traps her. That kind of presence makes a woman feel something deeper than attraction. It makes her feel safe in letting go. What's even more rare is a man who holds that space with softness, who knows that strength isn't loud, that confidence doesn't require control, that real power walks with grace, and in that space between his guidance and her freedom, real intimacy happens. She doesn't just desire him, she respects him because he leads without ego, listens without judgment, and loves without keeping score. And in a world of loud boys pretending to be men, he becomes the quiet storm she never saw coming but never wants to leave. If this hit you differently, it's because deep down you already knew it. Now it's time to stop being average and start becoming unforgettable. Comment below. I choose presence over performance. Like, subscribe, and share this with the men who need to hear it. Because respect starts with how you lead when no one else is watching.